Rajesh? Rajesh, I am.
Sir, good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, sir.
Thanks for accepting our question. There is a small delay in this, sir. Even I combined virtual novel function also, it's not yet complete.
Okay. It completed or not?
So they told half an hour and they just now only they completed, sir.
Okay.
Now only they completed in the content, sir. And the people are coming from us. Because for participant, it's a YouTube streaming. For us and the head of the institutions, it is a link based.
Okay.
So we are just getting inside, sir. Give me 5 minutes time, sir. Let them come.
All right, it's fine. Or no, is it okay? Or you want to reschedule afternoon? That's also okay for me.
Oh, within 5 minutes, it will be okay, sir.
Okay.
So everybody are telling that I am unable to enter, I am unable to join Google Meet. What we have to do?
Rajesh sir, can you hear me, Rajesh sir?
Sir,
Rajesh sir,
yes,
if you
sir.
are not able to join using the link, sir, but next to Gmail, if you click Gmeet, it automatically redirects to this meeting, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay. Fine. But now I am only seeing your WhatsApp. Recording is there. Recording. Okay, recording on. Recording stop recording. It is there. It is there. Sir, YouTube sir, we can start, sir.
Is it visible, Rajesh?
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Huh?
It's visible. Sir, it's visible, sir.
Okay. I'm just ready. Whenever you say, we'll start.
Sir, better we can start, sir. I will because we have very less sort of time to run in this. So better we can start, sir. Let them join slowly, sir. Is it okay, sir?
No, it's up to you. If you want to start now or you want to reschedule it, it's fine.
Yes, sir. Better we can start, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, better I will give that introduction, sir. Very good afternoon to one and all gathered here. I think I am audible to you all. Myself, Dr. K. Rajesh Kumar, Associate Professor in Department of Civil Engineering, and now we are in the second sessions. It is our Professor Dr.CSRK.Prasad sir from NIT Warangal is going to present the topic, the sustainable transportation infrastructure exclusive for smart cities. So before getting into that presentations, It's a honor. It is telling about SAR's few achievements in this last 30 years of teaching experience. So Professor CSRK.Prasad sir has obtained the 3 degrees, that is ME, BE and PhD, everything from REC Warangal. Presently it is NIT Warangal. He has 32 years of teaching and research experience, mostly at NIT Warangal. He taught several courses to both BTech Civil Engineering, MTech Transportation Engineering students, apart from guiding 254 dissertation works and 33 project works. Under his guidance, 4 PhD was awarded and currently 6 scholars are working. And Professor Prasad sir has carried out 7 externally funded R&D projects as a principal investigator and associated with another 2 projects. He has established MOUD, Center of Excellence on Urban Transport, and he has acquired expertise in several areas of transportation engineering such as travel demand modeling, mass transportation planning, traffic engineering, ITS road safety, low volume roads. These are the areas, and he has published 122 papers in reputed journals and the conferences. And the R&D projects still it's ongoing, that is a 3+1 completed 4. The overall cost is 228 lakhs and plus rupees 1069 lakhs. So these are the funded projects SAR has got, and the continuing education programs organized, that is a 48, that is a 200 days, about 1500 participants. So with these words, I would like to call our Professor Dr. CSRK.Prasad sir to deliver his keynote in the Sustainable Transport Infrastructure for Smart Cities. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Rajesh. How much time? It's 12:30. How much time I have gained?
1:30, sir.
1:30. Okay, fine.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So, good afternoon, friends. I welcome you all to this webinar series on sustainable materials for smart cities, challenges and recent trends. So, the topic I have chosen is the sustainable transport infrastructure for smart cities. I am not going to discuss anything about the materials, etc. It's mostly about what are the transportation requirements, what are the transportation needs, transportation related infrastructure needed for a smart city. Probably we'll touch upon certain aspects of the sustainability in this one. Friends, before we go into the serious discussion about the sustainable infrastructure for smart cities, I thought it is better for us to recollect the saying of the quotation of the Wellington Webb, who said that the 21st century is meant for the cities, because it's not the country's focus, it is going to be the city's focus. The reason is cities are driving, cities are contributing for the development and growth of the country. If the cities are good, if they're doing well, economically sound, and industries are doing well, then yes, that country's progress is depending upon the cities. If that is the reality, then what type of infrastructure we are supposed to create to make these cities more and more sustainable, and which will act as the growth engines for any country. So with that backdrop, let me present the outline of the talk, the urbanization problems, urban transportation issues and policies pertain to the country, and we'll also discuss about the smart cities mission of the considered by the government of India. Then we'll throw some light on the sustainable transport, and then some of the mobility technologies for the smart cities and sustainable mobility initiatives in Hyderabad. Friends, actually this presentation was prepared for the 90 minutes to 120 minutes. Since the talk is given to the 60 minutes now, I have two options. One, the first option is go as per the same phase of delivery, such that whatever is being covered, maybe if I could able to cover up the smart cities or sustainable transportation, that's fine. Otherwise, the second option is rushing through everything, completing all the slides. That may not be useful. That's what I perceive. So I'll go slowly as for the phase, so that I can explain what is relevant in a more explanatory manner. And whatever is being covered up to 1:30, we'll cover it. I will close it at that time. But I will share my presentation with the organizers, Professor Rajesh Kumar, so that he will in turn share the total presentation with all of you. So with the understanding, let's try to look at the urbanization problems. So all of you might be aware what is meant by urbanization, the difference between the urban and the rural. Rural is the mostly predominantly people are looking at or living depending on the agriculture based activities. In case of the urban area, more than 70% of the people are depending for their livelihood on the non-urban activities, like maybe industrial services, service sector, other activities, not non-agriculture. They are being engaged in this. So having understood this definition, so in our country also we have the different types of the urban areas which have been categorized into the different groups. So these people who are living in the urban areas their main activity is not agriculture. Their activity is not agriculture. Now let's try to look at what is the urban population within the different countries across the globe. You could see this diagram indicates. 1 minute. Yeah, this diagram indicates different colors. You see that this by 2050, like United States, Mexico, or Nigeria, or most of the UK, etc., European countries, which are in the pink color, where the urban population is more than 75% of their nation's population. 75% and above people are living in the urban areas, cities or towns, etc. Whereas the country like India, China, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Indonesia, etc., these are all the countries where the urban population is expected to be around 50 to 75%. Right now we have 31%. Right now 31, it might have increased to 33, 34, 35% by this time. But we are expecting them crossing a 50%. So the Indian population, you see that 87.5 million or 87.5 crores of the people are expected in the urban areas by 2050. That means that we are assuming that 175 crores will be the population of our country. Right now it's around 140. So this is an issue which is globally every country is perceiving and also feeling and also facing the problems. Now let's try to look at how this urban population is being distributed across the different geographical locations or geographical states of our country. You could see that the national average, as I told you, it's around 31% as per 2011 census, and about 4 or 5 countries, like not for 6 countries, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu, and Mizoram, and Punjab. These are all the states which are considered as the industrially developed countries, where their urban population is more than 35%. Some of the states is on 40-45% is also there. And the rest of the countries, yes, the urban population is much lower. So industrialization is one area which can be closely and strongly related with the urban population. More the industries, more will be the urban population, because people will migrate from the rural areas to the urban areas in search of the jobs. Now, these are all some of the 53 million plus cities. As for the 2011 census, there are 53 cities in our country where the population is more than 10 lakhs. They are called as a metropolitan cities, scattered across the nation. In Telangana, for example, we have only Hyderabad. Now we have a Warangal. Warangal is being declared as a corporation. But actually, as for the 2011 census, the population is less than 10 lakhs. But if you want to declare some city as a corporation, its population should be more than 10 lakhs. They have added the surrounding villages, etc. On paper, they have shown it, right? Now, and there is an interesting study, there is a projection, about 340 million or 34 crores people are living in these 1 lakh plus cities. 1 lakh plus cities, which are being categorized in 3 groups. Tier 1, greater than 4 million, greater than 40 lakhs. And Tier 2 is 10 to 40 lakhs. Tier 3 is 1 to 10 lakhs population. See that there's about 195 or 19.5 crores of the people are in the small and medium cities, that is 1 to 10 lakhs. 52 or 5.2 crores of the people are living within the 33 cities whose population is between 1 million to 4 million. About 93 million people are living in 9 cities whose population is more than 4 million. And this population is expected to increase to 590 millions by 2030 itself. But the cities is increasing. 9 Tier 1 cities are going to increase to 13. This 33 is going to become 55. That means that the number of cities are increasing and the size of the cities are also increasing. This is a very, very dangerous phenomena for us, because this 13 plus 55, these 68 cities are problematic with respect to the infrastructure creation. We are already facing the problem. This is the impact. You see that sustaining growth in India through the better urban planning. So saying that they are trying to look at what are the different cities. You see that number of cities are increasing, more and more people are being added to the cities. And the electricity consumption, even today, even after 60 years of our independence, 70 years of our independence, we are not able to provide a sustainable electricity supply or a continuous uninterrupted power supply to the citizens. And of course, recently the government declares that they could be able to reach all the villages in this country, and of course, subject to the verification. Same is the case with the water. Potable drinking water, 24/7, we are not in a position to provide it. Even as for the standards of 135 or 150 liters per day per person, we are not able to reach that. Then the infrastructure, whatever with infrastructure, whether it is a road or drainage system, etc., or the housing, and we are far away or far below the expectations or the demand. And then the pollution. India is being rated as the 3rd most polluted country on this planet after the China and the USA. And transportation, 1980s onwards, there's an exponential growth in the vehicle population. You could see that all our roads are flooded with the two-wheelers. 60% of the traffic is to the two-wheelers, and then other 10 to 15, 20%, depending upon the size of the city, type of the city, the cars. Then the rest of them are the two-wheelers, auto rickshaws, buses, etc. And more urbanization is taking place. This is the scenario. Now let's try to look at what are the issues. What are the issues related to the transportation? I am concentrating only on transportation. I am not looking at the other infrastructure requirements. Probably one of the slides I am going to highlight what are the infrastructure needs of a smart city. But now let me focus more on the transportation with respect to the urban areas. Many of you might be non-transportation engineering specialists, and that's where I would like to emphasize on the definition of the trip rate, per capita trip rate. Per capita trip rate is the number of trips made by a person per day. So what is meant by trip? Suppose we are moving from our home to the college, or home to some workplace, or home to the collector office, or home to some hospital, or from our house to the nearest shop. That is considered as a trip. That is considered as a trip. Then how many such trips are being performed by us in a day? So you can always count, you can always measure them. And then many of us might not be traveling it. So if you try to take into account the total population of the city, then you can always find out average per capita trip rate by taking up for the different purposes, using the different types of modes of vehicles. Now, let me check. This study was conducted in 2007, and they found that this average trip rate is varying between 0.8 to 1.5, depending upon the size of the city. Small cities like 1 to 5 lakhs is small cities, 5 to 10 lakhs medium cities, and so on. The category 6 is more than 80 lakhs. So you could see that this trip rate is varying from 0.8 to 1.5. This indicates that as the size of the city increases, the average number of trips performed by the people are increasing. For example, the person who is living in Hyderabad will travel more compared to the person living in Warangal. Or the person living in Warangal is traveling more compared to the person living in Janagaon. This is how, or Karimnagar. This is how it is. Now, because as the size of the city increases, more and more activities are being available, opportunities are available for the people, and hence they will travel more. The second thing is, if you try to look at a projection of these trips to the future, you could see that this 0.8 is becoming 1, or 1.5 is going to become 2 by 2031. That means that this is known as a temporal variation. There is a variation in the trip rate over the time. Compared to your grandparents, your fathers, your parents might have traveled more. And compared to your parents, this generation is traveling more. Compared to us, our children are going to travel more. This is because there is changes in the lifestyles, or changes in outlook, or perception about the life. So about 20, 30 years back, you see rarely people going to the restaurants. Now, every day, I know families exempted, and every family would like to go for restaurant at least once in a week or once in a 15 days and so on, and going to the movie or going to shopping, etc., etc. So the lifestyles are changing. That is the reason why the trip rates are going to be increased. That means that the cities are going to have many more trips. That means the roads are going to be flooded with many more trips. Now, if this is the scenario, one is the size of the population is increasing in each and every city. That means the number of cities are increasing, and size of the city is increasing. As the size of the city is increasing, more and more population, more and more vehicles are joining, and hence the trip rates are also increasing it. So more trips, more vehicles on the roads leads to the congestion, etc., etc. So under such circumstances, what will be the average journey speeds? You have a beautiful car, you can travel at 80, 100 kilometers per hour, but what is the average speed you can enjoy during the peak hours? Morning, let us say morning 8 to 11, or evening 4 to 7. Then on a major roads only, not on the side roads, on the major roads only. In the smaller cities, the speeds will be somewhere around, observed to be around 25, 26 kilometers per hour, but in the larger cities, it is 17 kilometers per hour. That means that as the size of the city increases, the average journey speed during the peak hours on a major arterial roads, on the major corridors of the city is reducing it. This is one phenomenon. Then, if I'm trying to project into the future by 2031, these speeds are drastically reduced to less than 10 kilometers. You take any city, the speeds are less than 10 kilometers per hour. This is the phenomenon. That means the do nothing alternative. That means the population is increasing, vehicle population is adding up, and then the more and more travel is taking place. And if I'm not going to do anything, if I'm not going to plan the city, if I'm not going to widen the roads, if I'm not going to create the new roads, then these trips, the average journey speeds will come down. So you have a beautiful, expensive, luxury car, but the average speed you can travel is around 7 or 8 or 9 kilometers per hour. Now let's try to look at some of the parameters, where we are now. If you try to look at the public transportation share, the best in the world is 82%. 82% of the city's population is depending upon the public transportation usage. But globally, we are anticipating at least 50% of people should travel by public transportation. But in India, on an average, this is an average figure. Average across all the cities, it's only 30%. So we are much below the minimum or the set value, recommended value, and much below than the best in the world. Now let us say vehicular congestion. Vehicular congestion is measured in terms of number of vehicles occupying the road per kilometer length. The best in the world is 85. Less the number of vehicles, more the freedom, more the quality of service, and hence you can travel at higher speeds. But the recommended average values are 112 vehicles or 112 cars per 1 kilometer length, but we found 170 cars per vehicle per lane kilometer in our Indian roads. So more the vehicles, more the congestion, and hence you could see that the lesser speeds. The free space available in Indian cities, the recommended is around 9 square meters per person, but best in the world is 16, but we have only 2.7. This is the reason why you could see a lot of pollution in our cities and a lot of health issues from like maybe hypertension or maybe diabetes. Maybe now the pollution-induced cancers are also coming up. Pollution-induced many diseases are coming up. Then the transportation network, what is available? As for the current demand, we need 640,000 kilometers of road length in all the cities together, but right now we have only 430. But whereas by 2030, we expect 80,000 kilometers of road length, but only we could able to match up to 540,000 kilometers of road length in the cities. Now, what about the mass transit? For the last 10-15 years, people are talking about transit, metro in all cities. Hyderabad also have the recently added metro. And all the cities together, we should be able to at least have 3,000, around 2,984 kilometers of metro, but as on today, we have only 990 kilometers. But what will happen by 2030? And it's supposed to be around 8,400, probably we may reach 2,000 kilometers, 1990 kilometers of metro. That means that always you could see that always we are far below the standards, world standards. We are far below the supply is always lesser than the demand. Now what is happening in all our cities? The mobility is the issue. Mobility is being affected. What is mobility? Mobility is our ability to reach our destinations as quickly as possible. Our destination might be my office, or my destination might be my college, or my destination might be my school, or it might be a grocery shop, or it might be a Sridevi a complex or the multiplex, whatever it may be. So, how this ability is being lost? What are the things? What are the major issues? Major issues. There are many issues, not only these three. I have highlighted only three. There are many issues. The first and topmost priority is the pedestrians. Pedestrians. We didn't have the good footpaths in all our cities, and the pedestrians are feeling unsafe to walk on the roads. This is the issue. Footpaths are not being constructed properly. Footpaths are not being constructed continuously along the highways, and they are not being maintained properly, and maybe encroachments might be there, etc. etc. The second is the bicycles. For the bicycles, we didn't construct the cycle tracks. So, because of that, both of them, both pedestrians and bicyclists, are forced to use the carriageway, which is meant for the fast-moving vehicles, which are traveling maybe 30, 40, maybe during the peak hours, the speeds might be lesser, but during the off-peak hours, the speeds might be 40 or 50 kilometers per hour. So, pedestrian maximum speed is maybe 5-6 kilometers per hour. So, a 6 kilometer speed person is traveling, sharing the carriageway, where the other vehicle adjacent to him is traveling at 40 or 50 kilometers per hour. This is what it is. This the safety is the question. Then the public transportation. People would like to travel by public transportation, provided if you have the good service, good quality is being provided. But most of our Indian cities wouldn't have an organized, well-planned, well-executed public transportation systems. Even if their public transport systems are there, the issue is the condition of the vehicles they are being used, the type of frequency at which they are being operated, the type of routes on which these vehicles are being operated. It is not scientifically done. So that is the reason why we are worried. The present generation is worried because they don't mind spending the money, but the question is the quality of service, quality of infrastructure being provided, quality of maintenance of this infrastructure. These are all the issues. Now, in 2006, the government of India brought out a National Urban Transportation Policy document. See that we got 1947 independence. In 2006, we got the national policy on urban transportation. See that we could take more than 50 years. That means that we neglected this urban transportation, not at all a priority item from the policymakers or the governments of this country. Again, the same policy document is being revised in 2014 after 8 years of its introduction. What are the recommendations? They said that we should integrate the land use and transportation plan. What is meant by land use planning? Master plan. You say that in Warangal city since 1972, first master plan was there. I think that is not the first, I think that was the second. So in 2008, we started. We started developing a master plan for city, and there's got delayed. 2014, again, we made an attempt and then submitted in 2014. And the state was formed, Telangana state was formed, new government came, they submitted, they said that no, this is not sufficient, this may not satisfy the requirements. So 2014, again, they have constituted another committee, consultant, and again, now this is 2020, where we are. The master plan was submitted, but even today it's not approved. See that 1972-28, generally master plan is valid for 20 years. So 28 plus 28, 48 years, long years, we didn't have the revised master plan. This is the fate. Of course, some cities might be better, but most of the cities are like this only. The second problem is in the master plan preparation, they are not trying to take into account the transportation plan. Corridors. They'll give transportation is also there about the master plan is basically meant about the land use planning. How much land is being allocated to the different types of activities like a residential purpose, commercial, industries, recreation, etc. and so on. But in the same time, they'll try to say that okay, provide road like this, radial roads like this, something like that they'll provide. But why? Where to construct the roads, how to construct the roads, what should be the width of the carriageway. This all depends upon the usage, demand for the travel. That exercise normally people will not do it in the master plan preparation. So there is a reason why all our land use in the form of master plans is not comprehensively taken into account the issues related to the transportation. It is the same with the case in Warangal also. Warangal also, the master plan was prepared. I was also technical advisory committee member. And I asked them, where is the transportation? They said that we will take it up separately. So it is happening not only Warangal, in all the cities. So then they said that we have to prepare a comprehensive traffic and transportation plan. That's what they are doing since independence in the last 70 years. In all our cities, master plan is different, transportation plan is different. So this transportation plan, they will try to say that what will be the demand for the transportation infrastructure, how many people would like to travel, what type of vehicles will be there, then what type of road network should be available for a city to cater this needs, etc. But unfortunately, while talking about the transportation plan, they don't take into account seriously, comprehensively, what is the land use, because land use is the one which will influence the transportation. If you construct a beautiful roads, then the land value will go up. We know that, all of us will know that, common man knows that. If there is a road coming up, now you see that land, there will be a ring road, proposed ring road for Warangal city. People, already real estate business people, agents, they're going on, running after, trying to find out what is the alignment, and then they want to purchase a piece of land, maybe 1 acre, 10 acres, 15 acres of land. So that once the ring road is being constructed, the land value will go up. 1 acre, 1 lakh, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs land will go up 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs. That's how it is. So the land value will go up. So both of them are integrated together. This is missing in our country, and that is what the policy has said that yes, you should have an integrated land use and transportation planning. They should not be treated separately, independently. They should be considered simultaneously. There is one landmark policy brought out by the government of India. Thanks to the government, it is at least that is being rectified now. The second recommendation is about the comprehensive mobility plan. For the last several decades, even in the transportation plans, we're always talking about demand is increasing, in the next 20 years, like for example, Warangal city, now it's about 10 lakhs. We are anticipating that it's going to become 25 lakhs by 2040 or 2045 or 50. So if this 25 lakhs population is going to come up, then what kind of a transportation network I should have it? So what for more the population, more the vehicles, and then more the traffic, and hence we will say that well, let us widen the roads. Let us construct a new roads. This is what it is. That is, more the roads are being constructed, more the widening of the roads, then more vehicles will come up, more traffic will come up. This is what is happening. This is going to happen. So, but the question is, are we able to serve the needs of all the people? Whether all the people are having the cars, all the people are having the two-wheelers. According to a recent survey also, about 60% of the households are having the two-wheelers. Maybe another 5–10% might be having the cars. Then what happened to the rest of the people? Some of them, they might be cycling might be there. Some of them, they don't have the vehicle at all. Then your transportation service to be provided, it should be reachable to those people also. By law of the land, they have right to move, So that the question is, the policy has changed that why can't we concentrate on the mobility of the people rather than the mobility of the vehicles, movement of the vehicles. This is another major change. Then they're talking about the model mix and product. What should be the percentage of the people using the public transportation, using the cars, using the two-wheelers? It has to be evolved for each and every city to decongest the road. There should not be any congestion. There should not be any traffic jams in any city. Then what should be the proportion? How much percentage of people should use the public transportation, etc.? Then the fourth one is the transit-oriented development. Transit-oriented development. This is the new concept brought out. The transit-oriented development is about the development of the city has to be conditioned. It should be controlled and conditioned development along the transit corridors. Your transit corridor might be your bus, or it can be a bus rapid transit systems, or light rail transit, or like a metro, etc., etc. So in such cases, if the total development, high-rise building development is taking place all along the corridor, they'll depend upon the public transportation to travel. They don't have to own their own mode of transport. That is the idea of the TOD. Then people are talking about transportation demand management. Transportation demand management for last 30 years, people are talking Western countries. But it's a new thing, new concept people are trying to introduce in our country. Of course, even when I was a student, I learned it. During my MTech days, transportation demand management is the one which is emerging area that what Professor Raghavacharya used to tell. It's fine. It's good. But the question is, now there is an awareness in this country. Then what is meant by this transport demand management? Demand management is nothing but you are trying to manage the demand, or in other words, you want to effectively utilize the road space to with little or no investment and to decongest the roads. For example, can I stagger the working hours of the people in the morning? Let us say, we assume that at 9 o'clock, all the schools, colleges are open, offices are also open. So what will happen? Parents, children, everybody is starting around 8 o'clock or 8:30, depending upon the location, their house with respect to their shop, with respect to the workplace, they'll start their journey. So that they're flooding the roads. Everybody is flooding the roads. So congestion is taking place. Okay. Can I have the schools, all the primary and upper primary schools starting at 7 o'clock in the morning? All the colleges, intermediate or the degree college at 8 o'clock. All the offices, let us say, opened at 9 o'clock. And all the shops will be opened only at 11 o'clock. So I'm staggering the working hours. I'm staggering the starting time of these activities. Then all of them will not flood the road in the same time. They're staggering at different times of the day. They're starting, and hence my road is decongested. Am I investing anything? I am not investing anything. It is a simple policy decision to be taken by the municipal corporation with the consultation with the various people, various stakeholders. If you can do it, if they can do it, then there will not be any congestion on the roads. So like that, there are several tools. As I said that, demand management, transportation demand management is the technique, the operational technique to enhance the efficiency of usage of the road with little or no investment. Little or no investment. Can we have to adopt it? That is why we have to think about for each and every city we have to look into that. Similarly, the service level benchmarks, the controlling the use of personal vehicles. Can we discourage the usage of the two-wheelers, cars, etc.? Because more the two-wheelers, more the congestion on the roads. Okay, can we discourage them? Like putting some kind of a toll or parking, heavy parking fee, etc., etc. Then the service level benchmarks is the one another good concept people came out. Ministries came out, Minister of Urban Development. What they say, see, what is the quality of service being offered by this transportation? Transportation is a service sector. Like we are going to purchase a Nokia phone or some other phone. You are trying to look at what the quality is being provided by that commodity. Whether even you are going for purchasing a small pen, you would like to see that its look and then how it is writing freely, whether it's free from the ink leakage and useful, etc. You will see, evaluate everything. Okay. Do you have, as a customer, as a citizen, do you have a right to demand for the quality of service? Same is the case with water supply. Same is the case with electricity. You have a very right to get a 50 Hz power supply without any fluctuations 24/7 continuously. Because there is any variation. Because you see the Electricity Act, and they said that they are providing this, they are supposed to provide this kind of a electricity. But we are not getting it, because of which our life of the devices like tube lights, fans, etc. is shortened. Same is the case with the transportation. Are we providing the quality of service to the users? That's what they brought out the service level benchmarks. What are the benchmarks? Minimum quality assured for the citizens by providing this service. This is the award benchmarks which will be quantifiable and understand that where we stand, Warangal city where we stand, Hyderabad city where it stands with respect to the quality of service provided to the citizens. Now, there is a guideline like saying that urban and regional development plans, framework, initiatives. This again, once again, government of initiative. They have brought out the concept, it's known as a compact city. The city should be as compact as possible. That means that all the activities should be as close by. In such cases, your city compacted, then your activity centers, other activities are close to your home. That means that your average trip length will come down. The distance to be traveled will come down. This is the advantage. We should have the high density development. Compact city is the mixed use of land and also high development, and that will enable us to travel less. So fuel consumption will come down and air pollution will come down. So this is what they recommended, because most of the American cities, they are not compact cities. Their urban sprawl is more. Thousands of kilometers of area is being occupied by the cities. It's a waste of land. It's a waste of land in occupying this one. So that we are forcibly, as the city size is increasing. Like for example, Hyderabad, HMDA, its area is 7,200 square kilometers of area. Just imagine that. There are some countries whose area is less than that. Some of the countries in the world is less than the size of our Hyderabad, size of the Mumbai, size of the Bangalore. See that? Such a huge one, that itself is a country. Hyderabad itself is a country. See that population of Singapore, about 30 lakhs, 30 or 40 lakhs. So Hyderabad population 90 lakhs. So this itself is a country, bigger than the Singapore country, right? So having thousands of square kilometers of area, the thing is happening is from Uppal, if you want to go to Kokatpalli, you are taking 1 hour, 2 hours sometimes. Traveling for distance is something like going from Hyderabad, from Warangal to Janagam, you can reach 1 hour. But from Uppal to Kokatpalli, you will take more than 1 hour. Here we are covering 55 kilometers, and there maybe 15-20 kilometers. You see that is impact. So can we think about the compacting the cities? Cities are growing at a closer by. Then another concept brought out is the smart city. Of course, people are talking about now smart city across the country. Now, this again concept evolved in 2015, but unfortunately, in India, this concept came a little later. About last 5-6 years only we are talking about, but in Western countries they are talking since 2000. Smart city. And what is a smart city? Smart city is the concept where facilitates better living experience for humankind. So we want to have the better quality of life using the technology, using the ICT enabled technologies. That means that, like for example, your smartphone. What is smartphone? It is a phone. The phone is meant for the talking, but you have added a smartness. You have added intelligence to that. What is that you have added? Using that, you are trying to identify. You want to find out what is the nearest restaurant, or you want to find out what is the nearest garment shop, or you want to find out where the movies are being played, new movies being played, etc. So then you will try to find out what is the shortest route. Or you want to find out what is the menu of a landmark hotel. Right? Fine, you got the menu, and then you want to find out whether the food is tasty in the landmark, etc. You want to see the rating of the earlier people visited. Are you not getting this information through your smartphone? That is what it is. Earlier, you didn't know. You have to find out. You have to ask your friends, relatives, etc. Where is a good hotel for eating, etc. Now, without that, you are getting some information. That means that you are well informed. You are well informed. The time is saved, and you can take a better decision process. This is the smartness added through the device. Can I add this smartness to my infrastructure in the city? Can I add this smartness to the governance of the city governance, city services? Can I add this using the technology? That is what is nothing but a smart city. So you should be able to get the services so that citizens will be, at the end of the day, you will get a good quality of service. And that's what the objectives. Now let us see what is the smart city definition. There is no unique definition for the smart city. Every country has its own definition, but more or less the concept is same. The concept is same. That is increase the efficiencies, reduce the cost, and enhance the quality of life. What are maybe the definition? The thing is, you want to enhance the infrastructure, social capital, use the digital technologies, etc. What ultimate aim is increase the efficiencies, increase the efficiency of operation, and reduce the cost. Your transportation cost should come down, and the operating cost should come down, and then the quality of life should be improved. This is the idea of the smart city one. Then what are the objectives of our smart city in our country? So they say that we want to provide a core infrastructure, give a decent quality of life to its citizens. What is the quality of life we are enjoying it? Recently, the flood is there, water flood. Most of our roads are being damaged. Most of our colonies are flooded with water. Do you call it a smart city? That means our planning is something wrong. We have not planned, we have not created our infrastructure free from the flood, right? Clean and sustainable environment. Application of ICT-based smart solutions. Focus on sustainable and inclusive development and create a replicable model which will act like a lighthouse to the other areas. So let us see what are some more objectives. So this is smart city depends upon the 4 pillars. One is a social infrastructure. You should be able to create a social integration among the different segments of the people. Or maybe social, cultural integration should be there. We have sufficient infrastructure towards that. And similarly, physical infrastructure, like roads, buildings, etc., that comes under the physical infrastructure. Institutional infrastructure, like roads and buildings department, municipal corporation, road transport authority, collectorate office, all these things comes under the institutional infrastructure. Then the economic infrastructure, like your industries, activity centers, etc., all those things, like commercial activity, goods run, all these things comes under economic activity. So these 4 are the main pillars of any city. Forget about smart city. For any city, these are all the things. All these pillars should be able to create a conducive environment to attain the sustainability. What is the sustainability? It should be long-lasting. Long-lasting. You have a less impact on the environment, conserve the resources, effectively utilize the resources, except this is the concept of sustainability. So in this concept, then what is the goal? You want to have it. There are twin goals for these smart cities. One is employment generation. The smart city should be able to attract the talent from the different parts of the country, different parts of the region. You should be able to attract the talented people. When they can attract, you should have a plenty of opportunities for the people to work, to experiment. And so you should have a more and more jobs to be able to provide it. That's the first object. The second objective is the quality of life. Excellent quality of life. You should have a beautiful life and have a good experience. So that is the reason why the gated communities are coming up now. Because the quality of service provided with the municipal corporations or the municipalities is not to the satisfaction of the certain segment of the people. So those who can afford, they are trying to create a pockets of land. A gated community is a pocket land, maybe 20 acres, 10 acres, etc. and created, they are having a better quality of life. So that kind of a quality of life is being provided. Why people should prefer a gated community? We don't require gated communities. The gated community quality of life should be spread to the each and every citizen. That is our right. But unfortunately, the local authorities are not able to meet this one. This is what is in the direction. Quality of life should be ensured and employment should be ensured. So Government of India as a flagship program under the Smart City Mission, they would like to identify 100 cities. Of course, they have considered different categories. Let's not worry into what is the type of categories, like different size of the cities, state capitals, union territory capitals, tourist importance. For example, Warangal is being considered under the tourist importance one, right? So like this, they have considered. So there are 100 cities. Of course, at the same time, they would like to see the geographical balance also. See that entire India is being covered, all these 100 cities, covering the entire city from north to south and east to west. Okay, all this is spread in Warangal and Karimnagar are the two smart cities in Telangana, right? And Hyderabad is also supposed to be there, and instead of Hyderabad, they preferred the Karimnagar because Hyderabad itself is without this smart city project. That itself is a smart city. Okay. Then the beauty of the smart city is they would like to integrate the various government schemes already existing, Make in India, etc. Because the funding is available in the different segments. All this funding has to be integrated together to transform these cities as the smart city. That's the beauty. That means that there will be a coordinated effort, coordinated linking of the different Government of India schemes to improve the quality of the infrastructure. About a couple of days back, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, the Global Smart City Index results were out. It's being the International Institute for Management Development India and the Singapore University of Technology and Design. Together, they are giving the Smart City Index values for the various cities. I think 108 cities were ranked across the globe. See that Singapore is the top one. Now let us see what are the where our cities are. The Hyderabad last year it is 67th rank, but now reduced to 85. The rank has fallen down. Similarly, other cities also, New Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore. Still among all the cities in India, Hyderabad is better place, even though it is not in one of the 100 smart cities, because there are a lot of innovations, schemes were implemented in Hyderabad much before the smart city or during the smart city mission also, and which are better than the smart cities. Now, what are the smart cities concept? What is that they are focusing on? They are focusing on two broad areas. One is area-based proposals. The second is city-based proposals. We call them as the pan-city initiatives. What are these area-based development? That means that we try to bring some change in the area-wise, covering the area. But the question is, there are cities which are already developed, where the density of the development is very high. In such cases, you cannot do miracles there. You can do some kind of a cosmetic changes. Such things comes under the retrofitting. Retrofitting, where we are to make the existing area more efficient and livable. That is what is the city improvement. There might be development is there, but low density development. In such cases, enhanced infrastructure using the mixed land use and increase the density. This is the second concept. Then there is no development at all, like a greenfield development. So there you can go for a city extension. So these three options are available. That means that for already existing or already developing cities or to be developed cities, all of them can be taken up, covered under the smart city mission. There is under the name of area-based development. And the second is like for example, Warangal. They have taken Ankonda area nearby that as the one area they have located in and around the Bhadrakali Lake, etc. as an area-based development. Then the PAN city initiative is something like which are having an impact on the entire city, like a signal coordination of signals all along the major corridors. Like for example, in Hyderabad, Warangal, the Kazipet to Warangal railway station, there's a major corridors. All along this corridor, they want to signalize each and every junction and want to provide a coordination. What do you mean by signal coordination? Suppose if the signal coordination is designed for 40 kilometers per hour, without design speed, then a person is traveling in his car or bike starting at Kazipet, and if he's consistently, uniformly traveling at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour, he can reach Warangal without stopping at any given intersection. That's what is the signal coordination. Advantage is you are not accelerating or decelerating your vehicle on consistent speeds you are traveling it. You are not stopping your vehicle, so your fuel consumption efficiency will be more. You are saving a lot of time. This is the concept of the one signal coordination. So like that, you can have a different initiatives. They brought out a beautiful benchmarks for spatial planning. They say that 95% of the residents should have daily needs, retail, parks, primary schools, recreation areas within the 400 meters of walking distance. This is what it is. This is the ideal scenario. So from our home, if 95% of the residences in the city, if they have their school or recreation facilities, parks or grocery shops within a 400 meters of walking distance, that will be wonderful. You can say that you are living in a smart city. If 95% should have the access to the employment through either public transportation or bicycle or walk, yes, you are in a smart city. Okay? This is how they have evolved some kind of a benchmark. These are all related to spatial planning. Because while planning the city, you have to take into account everything. And we have to see that whether that area is fitting to that. If not fitting it, what is to be done? Now, I said that they have identified 10 major elements which comes under the core infrastructure for any smart city. One is the supply, water supply. Are we in a position to provide 24/7 water supply to Warangal city? I was a student of this institution, NIT Warangal, in 1981 to 85. Since then, I am keep on hearing that we are going to get a 24/7 water supply. We are not yet realized it. Every day, we are also not able to provide the water supply, drinkable water supply. Assured electricity supply, 24/7, we should have uninterrupted power supply. Are you able to get it? Sanitation, including the solid waste management. What is the policy of the solid waste management policy in the city? We didn't have it. Now, recently, the government of India is focusing on this solid waste management because most of the city health issues are due to the improper disposal of the solid waste. So they want us in NIT Warangal also started the MTech program, waste management. We didn't say solid waste, we want to say waste management this year onwards, MTech program. So to our surprise, the high-ranked students also preferred and taken the seat in the waste management one. It is offered by Civil Engineering Department. Similarly, the efficient urban mobility and public transport. This is the concern. This is the concern with respect to the transportation. Urban mobility should be addressed. That means your ability of the people should travel to reach the destinations as quickly as possible. That is the issue. Then the public transportation has to be increased. Public transport. Now the public transportation in the Warangal city, for example, it is reduced. Recently, somebody has claimed that 22%. I was surprised. Earlier it used to be 36, around 40%. It's gradually reducing down. What is happening? Why people are reluctant to use it? If you try to look at the buses during the morning time, the school children or college-going children, they are hanging on the buses. Okay, fine. Then what about the rest of the day? Why people are not using the public transport? Of course, the mercy, whether it is a blessing in disguise, etc., or the density of the auto rickshaws in Warangal city is much higher compared to any other city in this country. Density is very high, more than required. So the auto rickshaws, the shared auto, is replacing the public transportation activities. So you can consider that also as a public transport. Then the affordable housing is another issue. By Government of India in 2014-15, they said that by 2022, every citizen should have a housing. Every citizen should have the housing. And I don't think we have realized this objective. Then the robust IT connectivity and digitization. This is what it is. I think, in fact, our Honorable Minister, K. Ramarao, is doing wonderfully, bringing a message and IT connectivity. Can we have Wi-Fi facility? I could see some of the European countries, some of the Western countries, even North America, America also. You could see that where at public places they have the Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi is available, and IT connectivity available. There's digitalization of the city should be available, so that they could able to easily identify, locate where it is, how it is, where the facilities, what is the shortest route to reach that, etc., etc. Then the public kiosks available to indicating the identifying the location and the various facilities, etc. The good governance. The good governance is one where citizens need not approach the offices. Can I complain from my home about the not availability of water supply or sewerage treatment or some other problem or some other menace, etc.? Can I get my birth certificate? Can I get the LRS regularization, or can I get my land registration documents, etc. by sitting? Can I get the driving license? This is what is a good governance. The good governance is citizens should be able to get the surveys and quality surveys at the minimum time. We should not go on spending it. So now you could see that electricity bills we are paying online, right? Electricity billing we are paying, property tax we are paying online. There are some of the measures which comes under the good governance. There is a change, there is no doubt about it. But we need to do a lot many things. Sustainable environment. This is another thing. Pollution should come down as minimum as possible. And then the safety and security of citizens, including children, ladies, etc. Then the health and education. These are all the 10 major components for which the robust infrastructure need to be developed in each and every smart city. I understand I could see some of the topics of the people, of course, mostly related materials, but they are touching upon several aspects. Of course, some points are missing, but several aspects of this one. Now let us try to look at what are the smart solutions we are anticipating it. So they have been bucketed. There are 6 buckets are there, 6 buckets of solutions. There are, so you see that 21 solutions they are trying to identify. E-governance and the citizen service or citizen participation. This is one bucket of smart solutions we are anticipating it. Public information, grievance redressal, electronic service delivery, citizens engagement, citizen city eyes and ears, and video crime monitoring, etc. This is one bucket of smart solutions we are anticipating from the city. Then the waste management. What is the policy? What are the measures? What are the mechanisms? What are the technologies available for us? Waste to energy. Now this is the new concept which is coming up. Can we generate some energy from the waste? Whether it's electronics waste, solid waste, etc., etc. And then the waste to compost, wastewater to be treated, and recycling and reduction of the construction and demolition waste. This is also another area which is coming up. Lot of our demolition is taking place. Rehabilitation of roads are taking place. How to address this? Because we cannot dispose it. There is value for that. Can we use them? Now the road sector we are going recycled, aggregate, payments, etc. And the water management, smart meters and a lot of water is being wasted, and people are not using it in a responsible way, not accounting properly. Then the leakage identification, preventive maintenance, water quality monitoring. What the type of quality of water we are consuming every day? Now people are talking about Kangan water, etc., etc. Then the energy management, the smart meters and management. How much electricity is being consumed by us? Really, are we consuming it? What the phrase? What are the losses? Are we paying for what we are consuming it, etc.? This we have to look into that. Then the renewable source of energy. Now people are talking about zero energy or green buildings. Green buildings. That means the energy required for a building should be generated by that building. That is the concepts are coming up now. Renewable energy like solar energy, etc. People are now some of our institutional buildings, rooftops we have installed. I think about 10% of our energy requirements are being generated through the solar. Then the energy efficiency and green buildings, that's what I already mentioned it. Then the urban mobility, talking about smart parking, intelligent traffic management, integrated multimodal transportation, this comes under the mobility. In addition to these 5 buckets, the 6th bucket is the telemedicine, tele-education. Now what we are doing is that, right? Like webinars, this comes from the tele-education. We're doing it because thanks to Corona, we are forced to adopt the online education, webinars, etc. in the online classroom, learning management systems, we are trying to develop it, and so on. Similarly, medicine also, Corona also helped us to adopt this telemedicine, right? Then the incubation and trade facilitation centers, skill development centers. So these are all some of the solutions we are anticipating. Every city should address each and every problem. We need to adopt these things. Not only cities. My recommendation is it should go for each town and each village level also. Now try to look at the mobility aspects, mobility wise. So urban mobility with respect to smart city, as I said, the smart parking system, intelligent traffic management, integrated multimodal, these points are already covered. In addition to that, we need to create a walkable localities, and then we have to encourage the formation of the different options like a public transportation option. TOD stands for the transit-oriented development, and public transportation last mile connectivity, that means from the your transit station, like a bus stop to your house, how do you travel, what is the distance? That means that the bus stop should be within a walkable distance of the households, right? Then there are certain benchmarks with respect to the transportation. One is for a small and medium cities. Ours is a medium city. Right now, Warangal is a medium city. From any point, I should reach 30 minutes. I should not spend more than 30 minutes time. If I'm spending more than 30 minutes time in a small and medium cities, that means that the city is not a smart city. It's other than other cities, metropolitan cities, 10 lakhs plus above, 45 minutes. Do you remember in 2014 or 15, I remember that our Honorable CM, Chandrasekhar Garu, he was mentioning that why people are spending a lot of time, why can't we design or improve our transport system in such a way that they should not travel more than 60 minutes. At that time, even smart city concept was not announced yet. But the question is, the thinkers, visionaries are thinking about it. Now, can we create infrastructure in such a way that the citizens should not spend more time on travel? That means design, oriented planning, activities, etc. in such a way that they should spend less time on the travel. This is the fundamental principle with respect to the mobility of the cities, especially smart cities. Then we need to create a footpaths and cycle tracks. This is for all the major arterials. Wherever the right of way is 12 meters or more, see the carriage is more than 10 meters. We need to have the footpaths. They are continuous, at least minimum 2 meters on either side. Unfortunately, many cities don't have it. I think Warangal, they're creating some footpaths, cycle tracks wherever it is possible. Then, high quality, high frequency mass transportation within 800 meters. This is what it is. That means 10 to 15 minutes of working time. Okay, so access to paratransit like your IPT, cycle rickshaws, etc. We should have a 3 minutes walking distance to serve. These are all some of the benchmarks we need to adopt to have a better travel experience in any smart city. Okay, I think I will stop here. Rajesh Kumar.
Sir, no issue, sir. We can go for it, sir.
I have no issue. Participants are okay. Okay.
Yes, it's a very informative session itself, sir. For getting from the PAN city to core infrastructures elements, so that it's very nice to hear, sir. So,
how much time can I take now?
Sir, 15 minutes.
Okay, so I think I can cover sustainable transportation.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
so it's very interesting, and right now you are reaching to elevating the topic very nicely. Please continue. On behalf of all participants, I request.
Thank you. Thank you.
Same, sir. Same. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now, sustainable development. What is sustainable development? So, if I remember correctly, till late 1980s, we never heard the term sustainable development. But one thing I think Mahatma Gandhi ji has said about 80, 90 years back, he said that on this planet, we have the resources enough for the need of the people, need of the mankind. For the greedy mankind, for the greedy persons, the resources are not available. He is such a great man. You see, there's such a vision. And now in 1987, at that time, people talking about sustainability. What is meant by sustainability? People looking at the degradation in the environment. Pollutions are increasing, air pollution is increasing, noise pollution is increasing, our water is being polluted, and then the people suddenly, ozone layer holes are there, observed, the temperatures are increasing, or climatic changes are observed, and even the cycle patterns, the rainy seasons, etc., has gone up, and they've been disturbed. Even our crop pattern has been disturbed across the globe. And see, then the people have realized that something is going wrong. Something is going wrong. That means that all our man-made activity has spoiled the environment. Whatever it may be, whether it is, we are collectively responsible. All the people, whether it is not India or America or Pakistan, etc., etc. A collective mankind as a human beings, we have spoiled with our activities, with our intrusion, with our interactions with the nature, we have spoiled its greenery or whatever the environment, and we have degraded sufficiently. Then people realize that no, if we allow it like this, like a business as usual condition, where our generations, our next generation, future generations are going to suffer. So let us try to rethink. So the thought leaders sat together across the globe. Then they realized that they coined the word like sustainable development. What is sustainable development? The needs of the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Because this is our common property. We are saying that we are having an asset. I have a 1,000 acres of land, this land, that land. People say that I have 4 buildings. That is a personal asset, our family assets. But our complete asset is our planet. Our planet. So our future generations, our grandchildren, grandchildren, they should also live on this planet comfortably. I don't know how many of you have seen the Total Recall movie. People have the boring the holes and then living below the ground because on the planet, on the earth surface, the temperatures are very high. They cannot live, and hence they have created the towns, colonies below the ground. That's the futuristic movie, science fiction. Okay, so that's what it is. Our future generation also should be able to live comfortably without compromising the needs of the present generations. It doesn't mean that we should sacrifice. No, let us be comfortable. Let us continue this developmental activity. Fine, but at the same time, let us take into account the future generations. Preserve some resources to the future generations. That is the reason why I conserve the natural resources and prevent the pollution, prevent the environmental pollution further. This is the concept, essence of the sustainable development. This has 3 pillars basically. Environmental protection, we have to protect the environment, and resources conservation. Natural resources, whether it's a water or it's a air, like aggregate for our civil engineering industry, and all these things has to be conserved for the future generation. That is the reason why you could see that a lot of recycled aggregates are being used, because we want to, natural resources are not available. Natural aggregate is not available. Another 5-10 years, if you try to use this natural resource, after 10 years, you don't find any aggregate for our building construction, road construction, etc. So this is what we want. We are trying to look at marginal materials, recycled aggregates, modified materials, etc. Then the economic prosperity has to be continued. You cannot stop or you cannot decelerate the economic activity. Economic activity should continue, prosperity should continue, and for the futures also. Then the social well-being, all the segments of the people, not the rich and poor. It's not the backward or forward. It's not the particular religion. Everybody has a place, a right to live on this planet in a more dignified way. We have a properly well-defined social network. This is what is a social well-being and equity. So let us see what is the impact of this transportation on sustainability. Is it transportation is also causing the deterioration of the environment? Yes, definitely causing the deterioration of the environment. If you try to look at the globally, across the regional or national transportation, or city transportation, especially city transportation, once upon a time, city transportation pollution is, there are 3 segments. One is the transportation activity, household activity, and the industrial activity. Industrial activity used to be predominantly contributing, then the household activity for pollution in the cities. Now, as of now, 2/3 to 3/4 of the air pollution in the urban areas is due to the transportation activity. See, to such an extent, the deterioration is there. The people living in the rural area, there are about 68% of the people still living in the rural area. They are having a better environment compared to us who are living in the urban areas. So if you try to look at the health index of the people, and urban areas, people are living in the urban areas are having a more hypertension, more diabetic, more cancer related cases compared to the people living in the rural areas. They are more healthier than us who are living in the urban areas. What is that? These are all due to the pollution, air pollution. So there are different impacts like economic traffic congestion. We are spending more time on the roads. Our vehicles are well designed. They have the high speed of 100 kilometers per hour, because some companies you see that in 10 seconds you can reach 0 to 60 kilometers per hour. The motorbike advertisements. What for? What for? I have congested roads. I cannot drive my vehicle at 40, 50 kilometers per hour. So when I'm operating my vehicle at a suboptimal speeds, then the fuel consumption will be more, pollution, exhaust pipe emissions will be more. I'm losing my time, valuable time, spending the time on the road, exposed to the air pollution, etc. So congestion is one. Mobility barriers, accidents, more and more accidents are being covered. Facility cost, consumer cost, depletion of natural renewable resources. Similarly, social inequity of impacts, and the environment, air and water pollution, and hydrological impacts, depletion of non-renewable resources. What is to be done? What is to be done? So there is impact. There is a fact, well-established fact, beyond doubt. It has been proven that transportation is one of the primary cause for the depletion of the natural resources and also causing the environmental damage. So that is the reason why the sustainable transportation concept come up. What is the sustainable transport? That means whatever the transportation phenomena, whether you are planning or modes or operations, etc., anything, all your activities should be sustainable. It means that any means of transportation with low impact on the environment. Low impact on the environment. That means it should cause lesser and zero impact is wonderful, but it's difficult to reach that. But at least minimize the adverse ill effects of the transportation on the environment. That's the first thing. Then try to look at walking and cycling. We are not consuming the fossil fuels. Walking and cycling, not consuming any fossil fuels, and hence no pollution to the environment. So we should be able to look at all the technologies which will move the people and goods and also information. So what are these various means and ways to ensuring the sustainability in the environment through the transportation phenomenon? So that is what is a sustainable transportation. So far, we are talking about more demand is there, size of the population, city of size is increasing, more vehicles are coming up, demand is increasing, and hence construct new roads. Or widen the existing roads. 2 lanes becomes 4 lanes, 4 lanes becomes 6 lanes. Like a runways, we are constructing a runways in a city. But the question is, it's again after construction, 2-3 years after the construction, again the roads will be flooded, congestion is taking place. So that means that by design in our planning itself, we are focusing, encouraging more and more vehicle usage. Now that has to be changed across the globe. Even the realization is there in USA also. They're saying that no, what we are doing is something wrong. Let us rethink. Then the current thinking is, let us give top priority for the pedestrian. Pedestrian is supposed to be the king of the road. He should give top priority. What is to be done? Encourage more and more people to walk. Use them. Create the facility. The second priority is the bicycles. Third priority is the public transportation. Fourth is the service and freight vehicles. Fifth is the taxis. Sixth is the multiple occupant vehicles like carpools. Now in Warangal also some people are using it. Probably SR College also many people might be living in the city. You might be using the single car, 4 or 5 friends together using one car. And maybe in turn, you can use it. Monday, one person can bring, Tuesday, another person can bring his car, Wednesday, another person can bring it. If you are already doing it, I will appreciate it. If you are not doing it, start doing it. So instead of 4 cars, 5 cars, 1 car is going. So I'm reducing 4 vehicle trips. That is what is the carpooling or van pooling techniques. Then the single occupant vehicles, like a person, only one person driving a car, he should be disgraced. He is given the last priority, that is the 7th priority. This is a paradigm shift, thinking process because of the sustainable development or sustainable transit. So they have given a priority, like pedestrians I should give, footpaths I should provide on all the streets, foot-over bridges, wherever the crossing is there, I should provide it. So pedestrians should feel comfortable, safe, in his day-to-day activity. Then he will use the road. The next is non-motor transport, dedicated cycle path. Wherever it's applicable, wherever the demand is there, we have to provide cycle path. Next is the public transportation. We should have different categories of there. Integrated bus service systems, and then the integrated rail systems, mass transit system. We are given hub and spoke model, point-to-point model, whatever it is. This is a planning of the scheduling, routing issues will come up. Bus rapid transit system. Now people are talking about. Now, for example, Warangal, the Kajipet to Warangal railway station, you can implement bus rapid transit system. We have 6 lanes. Why can't I use 1 lane in each direction exclusively for the buses? Exclusively for the buses. In addition to the buses, let me allow only cars who are having 4 passengers in the car. Yes. Then the remaining 2 will only for the 2-wheelers and other buses. Can you use it? We can use it without any investment. Now people are talking about Neo, Metro, etc., etc. But it is a costly solution. More than 1,000 crores it will cost you, whether it is required or not. But we have a cost-effective solution, BRTS. No, forget about BRTS. You provide 1 lane exclusively for the buses, existing buses. You see, imagine how much change it will be there. Because the travel times will come down, they travel faster, then people will slowly shift towards this. But the only thing is we have to implement it. We have a strong will. We need a leaders there to implement it. Then the rail system, then the mass transit. See, once again, please note that metro is not a solution, is not a mantra to decongest. There are many people, there is unfortunately the people's mind thinking is like that. For example, Hyderabad. I was there in their committees. I found that people, state government are people thinking is they give a lot of weightage for the metro. It is costing us 1,000 to 12,000 crores. It's fine. Metro is required on certain corridors. But how much population is being traveled? It is only 1%, 2%. But 34% of the people, even today, they are using the buses. What facilities they are giving? What incentives they are giving? What measures they are giving for the buses? This is an issue. This is an issue. So we need different types of public transportation systems. In a metro is required on a corridors where you have the high density of population. Like you have the 40,000, 50,000 people wants to travel per hour. Then in such corridors, yes, metro is required. Suppose on a particular corridor, like for example, I said the Kajipet to Warangal railway station. There is a major road through the Hankonda. This is the corridor where you have the heavy traffic is there, right? This is where you require a bus rapid transit system, right? If it is not, bus rapid transit system can serve up to 10 to 15,000 passengers per hour per direction. It's fine. If it is beyond that, this BRTS is not possible. You have to go for LRT. It is between 20 to 25,000 passengers per hour per direction. If it is beyond that, then 40,000, then go for a metro. That means that in any given city, we have to identify the corridors depending upon the load, depending upon the demand. You have to identify. Metro is required for this corridor. This corridor might be, LRT might be required. So another corridor, it might be the LRT or the bus rapid transit system required. In some other corridors, our conventional bus itself might be good enough. That is what we have to do it more scientifically, systematically. We have to study. There is no textbook solution. No textbook solution for any city. We have to study problems of the city. Now, let me summarize. Let me see what are these sustainable planning issues. They are bracketed because in these previous issues, these issues also will come here. So there are 3 groups. One is avoiding or reducing the trips. This is the first principle. Sustainable transportation is avoiding the trips, avoiding the travel. What do you mean by avoiding the travel? So there is no need for you to travel at all. Now imagine earlier we used to go for railway station for booking a ticket for our future journey. Now anybody is going to railway station, reservation counter and booking it? The number has been substantially reduced. You can use it your internet connection using your laptop or desktop system, or otherwise you can use your mobile phone. You can reserve a ticket. No, the trips have gone down. The trips which are for the reservation counter for booking a ticket has drastically reduced. We have avoided the trip. How did you avoid it? Using the technology. Now the technology is available to you, ICT technology available, apps is available to you, and hence you could able to avoid it. Right? Work from home is another technology. We are avoiding the trip. Now, thanks to Corona, now we are forced to adopt these webinars. Suppose let us say this Corona is not there. I am free to travel. What I will do? I will come to the SR Engineering College, I will deliver it. All these participants also should have traveled to the SR Engineering College. They are staying there, also there in a room, and then we might be delivering it or you might be hearing it. Fine. But now, this trip is avoided. I am doing the same activity from my home. So can I adopt, can I look at what is the ways and means to reduce the travel, need to travel? The second group is the shifting. Shifting to more environmentally friendly modes, more energy efficient systems. What are they? I am using now car. Can I discard my car, use the public transportation? Can I discard my two-wheeler, use the bicycle? Or can I avoid my two-wheeler and walk to reach my office, etc.? For example, we take my campus, NITW Warangal campus is hardly 240 acres of land. And it's a residential campus. Students are staying in the hostels. Hardly 200 to 500 meters radius, their academic buildings, classrooms are available. Many faculty are laying in this campus, residential quarters, which are about 200 to 500 meters. So this 200 to 400 or 400 meters of travel, do you require a car? Do you require a two-wheeler? You don't require, you can walk down, you can shift. So shifting from one mode to the another mode is possible for a very short trips, 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers. Yes, you can shift using the pedestrians. 2 to 5 kilometers, you can use the bicycle. Beyond 5 kilometers, yes, use your two-wheeler, car, etc. But there, you can use the public transport, provided you should develop, design, and construct and operate the well-networked public transport system. Then the third is improving the vehicle and fuel technologies. Like many of you might know that Bharat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, now the Bharat 6 is there. Now compared to your present day bike is emitting less pollution compared to the bike which was manufactured about 30 years back. There is a technological improvement in the design of the vehicle engine. It's fine. Now fuels are changing, right? Fuel is also, there is a technology changes in the fuels. There is a change in the engine itself. Now the electrical vehicles are coming up. So these are all the improvements which are taking place. So increasing the energy efficiency of the vehicles, fuels and transportation. So these are all the three broad categories. That's what I'm trying to give. Avoid strategies, integrate land use and transportation. That will enable us to reduce the trip length. That will enable us to reduce the usage of the private modes. Mixed use development, transit-oriented development, where people will depend more on the public transportation. Information and communication technology, like work from home, etc., all these things, webinars, online conferences, virtual conference, etc., all these things comes under the information and communication technology using that. Shift strategies, using the non-moderate transport and using the public transportation. Demand management, as I was saying, that staggering of the working hours, this comes under the demand management. Then improving the strategies, cleaner fuels, technologies, inspection and maintenance. Good maintenance of the vehicles will also reduce the pollution levels. So let me summarize the sustainable urban transportation planning, like a high density compact development. So your city should be as compact as possible, such that your trip lengths will come down and economic viability of operating the public transportation will be enhanced. Then the mixed land use. Mixed land use also will be helpful for us to reduce the trip length and reduce the dependence on the vehicle. Similarly, transit-oriented development is taking place along the corridors, in and around the metro stations. And then the last one is the pedestrian and NMT scale. Facilities has to improve. That means footpaths should be constructed, we should be well maintained, we should see that the encroachment should not be there. Then, yes, you can ensure the sustainable urban transportation activity in any city. I think I will stop here, right? Is 13:50? Rajesh?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much, SR Engineering College, for giving me an opportunity. And similarly, also thank my colleagues and student friends for sparing time and patient hearing. I think
Thanks, sir.
I'll be happy
Very
to
much
take a
thankful
couple of
to
questions.
sir. Once again, I'm very much thankful to accept our invitations and give your consent to deliver this keynote lecture. So really, it's a very invoking the process of all smart cities, PAN cities. What is a PAN city? Like core structures of that smart city things. So really, it's very useful thing only, sir. From that base only, we have to go for it. Anyhow, I'm expecting some queries from the participants.
Yeah, I am ready, happy to take, depending upon your availability of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
The time is there, sir, I think, because it's a. So there is a Basavaraj Aki. He's asked that what kind of research or studies can be done for improvement of SUTP?
There are many studies. In fact, one of my scholar, Prashant Shekhar, is working on a transit-oriented development. That means, is it really possible to develop implement a transit-oriented development in cities like Hyderabad? Hyderabad is already developed. Can we do something in that direction? So we have done, we have proven that with slight modifications in the network, with changes in the policy making, we have demonstrated that yes, it is possible to implement the sustainable development through the transit-oriented corridors. We have identified certain corridors which can be converted as the transit-oriented corridors, and what policy recommendations has to be taken, etc. We have shown it. It's possible. So there is a lot of research going on transit-oriented development, identification of corridors, and then what is meant by transit-oriented zones, because that for identification. And also there are different types of categorization. They call it the typology. So what is the typology of the area? Because land use might be different, type of activities might be different, type of household activity might be different, and also the type of road network, etc. is different. Depending upon that, we need to identify, and there is no unique solution. You have to come out with the appropriate solution, depending upon the type of the benchmark and quality of service to be provided. I think I'll invite him. You can.
Yes, sir.
Can
There is another query from Sunil Kutte. I have. Sorry, sir. That is another one. It's not. It's related.
No. It's in different context, please, sir. It's not question.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have attended the morning session from 9 a.m. fully. Upload the morning sessions attendance like that only is there, sir. Sunil, sir, you can,
Yes,
sir,
sir.
you can
Yes,
unmute
sir.
yourself and you can raise the question, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. There is a question for sir. Yes, sir. So, under the circumstances of sustainability, would you like to just suggest that whatever Mahatma Gandhi said, just go to villages was the right approach?
It's not go to villages. Actually, our perception is slightly changing. For example, I went to about 5-6 years back. I went to Germany. I stayed there 4 to 5 weeks time. What I have observed there is, in each and every village and town, there is a good transportation network. Okay, road network is good, and the services are good. The connected tram facility or the maybe faster the bullet train, something like that, it is there. Then 24/7 water supply is there, and power supply is there. There's no breakups, or I think when those 5 weeks time, I never saw any power breakdowns. Okay. Then the water supply is also good, and then each and every house is fitted with the gasification. Now, all of you might agree and also know that the Germany is a highly industrialized nation, right? Their products are very good, but their capital is what is that? Germany capital. Berlin. But Berlin population is only 30 lakhs. All their industries are not located in the Berlin. Like for example, in our case, all our industries are located in Hyderabad, right? People are reluctant to come to Warangal also. We have a Madikonda SHI. People are not willing to come down here. But there, the bench, for example, car manufacturing is somewhere else. Somewhere, not in the Berlin, very far off locations. So how it is possible? The reason is the quality of life available in the Berlin, the quality of life available in the villages, in the small towns, 50,000, 1 lakh populated towns is also same. So if you can provide this kind of a basic infrastructure everywhere, then there is no necessity for the people to migrate from the villages to the urban areas. And also these industries, whatever it is, whether it's small scale or medium scale or micro scale enterprises, they should be distributed. If that is the case, then this migration to the cities will come down. So what we are saying is, no point in saying that no, people should migrate from Hyderabad back to the Telangana villages or the rural villages. No, it's not that. The idea is not that. We have to increase the infrastructure, quality of infrastructure in the villages and then the small towns also. Then yes, this migration will be stopped. So suppose if an opportunity is given for you to work in your native place, why do you come? Why do you come to Hyderabad? That's what I think the Tamil Nadu Joho, there's a person, is a IIT graduate, went to USA, finally one fine day he got that, why my headquarters should be in the cosmopolitan cities, why not it in the village? He went back, Tamil Nadu, he went back his village and he has established his corporate sector there. He is working there in the village and surrounding villages, etc. has provided a lot of jobs. His software company, Joho, I think, that is Joho.com service. So that is what is required. You need a basic amenities everywhere, then obviously we can stop this migration and too much of urbanization.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, and one more last question, sir. Sir Ratnavel Ponnuswamy from Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Sir, I think Ratnavel, sir, you can open the mic and you can ask your question.
Thank you, sir. Prasad sir, thank you, sir, for this wonderful session. I think I also veto your thoughts on metro as a tool for smart transportation. I am asking pertinent to my city, Coimbatore, which is a tier 2 city. Is metro a solution that has to be adopted universally? I think for a city like Coimbatore, we have just started our metro studies. But as far as I know, I've been in the city for 40 years. I don't think there is scope for metro in our city at all. So should metro be a forced option on all cities? That's my question, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, metro is because the Ministry of Urban Development, they said that 2 million plus populated cities, we can go for a metro. 2 million plus, that's the guidelines. So 2 million plus populated cities. But only thing is you have to identify the cadre where you should have the demand is there. The question is, no metro in this world, you take any, whether it's developed or developing country, is not economically viable. You will not get the break even because it's a capital intensity is very high. What the developed countries, especially the Europe, what they are looking at is, especially Germany, what they are looking at is, they are forgetting about the cost of investment. Okay? They are looking at through the fare box collection, through the tickets, etc. They should meet the operating expenditure. Operating expenditure should be generated. This is what it is. So, one is for that also you need to have the proper demand and usage of the metro. So, for that you have to be genuinely, carefully identify the cadre where this cadre should align with the desired line of the people. Then that may be successful. Again, I am costing you. You are not going to get back your investment. Your investment should get back whoever is going to implement it. The investment might be through some other source. For example, Hyderabad, they want to some land packets. They want to have the development zones for that, so that they will get back their fund. Because your fare collection revenue maybe contribute to 10 to 15%.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, thanks a lot, sir.
Sir, Prasad, sir. Hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes.
Varun.
Sir, I am Varun Kumar, sir, from Hyderabad.
Yeah.
Sir, I have listened your speech from the beginning, sir, beginning of the session. At the same time, sir, here we discussed different problems we have been facing in developed cities. So there are a lot of problems are there. So in order to solve those problems, you have told some solutions also, sir. That is, we have to give high priority to pedestrians. At the same time, we have to provide cycle lanes. Okay. At the same time, people should motivate to public transports, like that you told, sir. So here my question is, sir, so in order to implement all these, so obviously the government should make a strict rules. At the same time, a lot of support should be there from government, sir. Correct, sir?
That's right.
So,
that is the
at the same
leadership.
time, sir, if government do not support the engineers, okay, sir, if government do not support our ideas, so I think it is not possible to implement, sir. Then in such case, then what we can do, sir? Then what we should do to solve all these problems, sir?
The thing is, unfortunately, engineers are not the decision makers. I fully agree with you. We are only who can design, who can analyze, who can give the best possible solution, provided it is the leadership. For example, London mayor was elected with a single agenda, saying that I want to improve the transportation facilities in London. So he was elected, he is the one. Similarly, Bogota mayor is the one who has taken a championship in introducing the BRTS system. Right? These two persons are non-technical, these are politicians only. See, politicians in the outside country, in the developed countries, they are the truly visionaries. They are trying to develop it. They are taking up it as a challenge and implement it. But unfortunately, we have to look for it, because slowly our political leadership is also changing. Like, for example, you are seeing the KTR. He is a well knowledgeable, informed, and well-educated person. So such people are also bringing. You see that? Is it not showcasing the Hyderabad startup companies, IAPs, etc., tasks, etc., is creating it. So that kind of a changes political leadership we need. Okay. So unless otherwise we have it, yes, we cannot implement it. We need a strong leadership, visionary leadership. That's the first thing. Second thing is we need a change in the society also. The people's mind also, because our society, unfortunately, if having a car, by using the car, then the people are respecting, right? No car, no respect. Do you agree?
Sir, please repeat, sir.
Social stigma is there. But that has to come out. If somebody is as a professor, if I'm going to college by cycle, then the students also, the colleagues also think that why this fellow is coming like this, etc. Right? So we have to come out of that. Usage of the vehicle is only for our travel, our comfort only. It's not the social status. So we are linking our social status with the type of vehicle usage. This mindset has to be changed. This will also go over time.
Okay, sir.
It will take some time to change the mindset.
So, sir, in order to implement all these things, first we have to start an awareness program, sir, among all the peoples.
Correct.
Correct, sir. So, yeah, sir, by conducting many awareness programs, we may get such kind of changes, sir. At the same time, one point I want to tell you, sir, one of the doctorates in our department, Dr. P. Harshaparan, sir, he used to come to our college by cycle from Miapur, sir. That is 30 kilometers far away from our college, sir. So once in a week, he comes, sir. And he got PhD from Warangal NIT, sir. So he's something different faculty in our department, sir. And we, Dr. P. Harshaprani, sir. Harshaprani.
What is specialization?
Structural engineering, sir. And his age is just 35 years only, sir. Harshaprani. Structure, sir. Yeah, sir. So we also try to follow him, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks for this wonderful session, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. And here also I want to add one more thing. Recently, I am also purchased one cycle. The same inspirations I got from my previous college, that is from PSNA College of Engineering and Technology, Dindikkal, Tamil Nadu, where one that is a PhD holder, the doctorate, he used the cycle. He traveled more than 15 kilometers one way. That is 30 kilometers per day, like that. So
Okay.
same thing I am also doing here in the Warangal. Anyhow, sir, thanks for it, sir.
Yeah, good.
Anyhow, sir,
No,
thanks for
one good thing is now we could get even the young IAS officers are also coming. They're also concerned. And I think our national education policy is also going to address certain issues. The social responsibility, social awareness, sustainability principles from the school level. I think that is going to have an impact on our thinking process. Whatever may be the profession we are going to adopt it. And if that will come slowly, that overnight miracles, let us not expect.
yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for valuable time spending here.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right.
And
Good day. All the best, Rajesh. I think for the next 5 days also we'll have a wonderful sessions.
yes,
Okay.
sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir.
And now the time is 2:05. Exact 1 hour. We can take it for our lunch break. So it's time to give a feast to our stomach also. So let us break.